As we were having the discussions, something was just going through my mind which I will need clarification. Outside vaccines, for instance, we take Septrin and Fancida, they potentiate each other. And there are so many other drugs like that. I cast back my mind to our situation in Nigeria, where at 6 weeks, 10 weeks, 14 weeks, a child is being given different antigens from different companies. And these vaccines have different adjuvants, different preservatives, and so on. You go again to 9 months. Currently, the child at 9 months will receive main A, that same child will receive yellow fever, that same child will receive measles vaccine. Something crosses my mind. Is there a possibility of these adjuvants, preservatives, cross-reacting amongst themselves? Have there ever been a study on the possibility of cross-reactions from the panel members that you can share the experience with us? Because this is one thing that I've also crossing my mind. Going back home, this is an area that will need to work with the regulatory agency. Let's even see what is happening. Is there any possibility? So we need guidance from the panel members, whether there's ever been any study on these cross-reactions of multiple antigens from different companies given to a child at the same time. What counsel do you have for us? Thank you.
This is a very important question because in general, the clinical trials with any particular new product frequently is done just by itself, and then ultimately, frequently the regulators will ask if that vaccine could be added to the routine immunization program, and so frequently a trial is done with that new vaccine in addition to the regular regimen. But your question is almost kind of the next step, because in real practice, frequently there are multiple vaccines from different manufacturers that then may be received at a different age schedules, etc. And if you take a look at the immunization schedule over the last, let's say, 15, 20 years in high-income countries, as well as in low-resource countries, the schedule has gotten more and more complex, clearly. And so if you take a look at the exposure, what we call the vaccine exposure, in the typical adverse event report to a spontaneous reporting system in any country, you'll see that increase in heterogeneity of those different vaccine exposures, especially if you take the manufacturer into account. Now, the only way to tease that out is if you had a large population database like the Vaccine Safety Data Link, as well as some of the other national databases that are coming to being, where the actual vaccine exposure is tracked down to that level of specificity of who is the manufacturer, what is the lot number, et cetera, et cetera. And there's initiative to try to make the vaccine label information barcoded so that it includes that level of information, so that in the future, when we do these type of studies, we're able to tease that out. And in order to as each time you subdivide, then the sample size gets becoming more and more challenging. And that's what I said earlier today about that we're really only in the beginning of the era of large data sets where hopefully you could start to kind of harmonize the databases for multiple studies. And there's actually an initiative underway. Helen there may want to comment on it to try to get more national vaccine safety database linked together so we could start to answer these type of questions that you just raised.